You all know Anthony Taylor is the piss poor referee who seemingly makes a scandalous decision in the Premier League every couple of weeks, but once you hear about his past, which the PGMOL has spent over £150,000 on to keep a secret, you'll realize just how deep the corruption within English football goes. Believe it or not, Taylor worked at HMP Manchester Strangeways, which is a Category A prison, for 12 years and 7 months as a correctional officer. This is completely mental for 3 different reasons. First and foremost, if you try and look for an image of him on the job, you won't find a single search result. It's almost like it's been completely wiped off the face of the internet. Secondly, and this blows my bloody mind, he started officiating week in week out in the Premier League in 2010. Yet if you look at the image on screen, he worked at the prison until 2013. I'm sorry, but there's no way in hell one man could do both those jobs simultaneously without so much as a whisper about it in the media. Thirdly, one brave journalist, who I'm unable to name for legal reasons, pulled Taylor up on this in a now deleted article and asked the bloke how he had the credentials to jump into getting gigs in the Prem when he spent over a decade doing something completely different, to which Taylor responded by saying, "Listen pal, there are skills which are interchangeable between working in the prison service and refereeing. I specialized in control and restraint techniques and know how to handle violent individuals and deal with difficult situations that arise." What the actual fuck is going on here? The two roles couldn't be more different from one another if they tried, particularly in the modern day game, where players go down like a sack of shit every time they feel the slightest bit of contact, and the only aggression they display is a bit of handbags after coming together. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if Taylor's constant promotions have something to do with the fact that his boss in Howard Webb was himself a copper, and an allegedly bent one at that. What's worse is that Taylor not only took charge of the 1-1 draw between Chelsea and Arsenal on the weekend, but has spent the last month gaslighting the public into thinking he's the victim. He criticized the expectation of perfection that officials are subject to, even though all fans are asking for is so-called trained professionals to make the right decision with the benefit of a slow motion replay that even a hammered bloke down at the pub could. He then proceeded to claim he's not on social media because he doesn't want to waste his time reading negative comments from people who don't have a clue, despite the fact that supporters today are more educated about the sport than ever before and very much entitled to sharing their opinion, given it's their hard-earned money which is keeping the entire ecosystem alive. Curiously, Taylor also declared that Jose Mourinho wrecked his mental health after he confronted Taylor in the car park following a Europa League final between Sevilla and Roma, where the former dished out yellow cards to 13 players and added on 25 minutes across the whole game. As it turns out, Taylor didn't even get a slap on the wrist for screwing Roma out of winning the biggest trophy in the club's history, while Mourinho was given a 4-match ban immediately after for merely stating the obvious when referring to Taylor as a disgrace, which he very much is. Regardless of which club you support, I think it's fair to say we've all got to come together and call out the immense fuckery that's destroying our sport behind the scenes. The likes of FIFA aren't even trying to hide their corruption anymore. They literally got Cristiano Ronaldo's 3-match ban down to 1, so he doesn't miss a single game at the World Cup. And even though the PGMOL aren't quite as brazen in their approach, their lack of transparency makes them just as complicit in their actions. Subscribe if you liked the video, and don't if you thought it was shite. Peace!